Hey there, Stewart's Chapel. This is Brother Don Pierson and Don Counts, and we're in the FLC, the Family Life Center, and this is Saturday's devotion. And yesterday I shared with you about stuck, but they don't want to be. And we primarily talked about the disciples and the father of the young epileptic boy who turned out to have a demon. Today I want to talk about some individuals who refuse to be stuck. Now, last week we did find that Jesus told the disciples, there are times when I'm going to require more of you, otherwise you're going to be stuck. In Mark chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, we read this story. And again, Jesus entered Capernaum after some days, and it was heard that he was in the house. Immediately many gathered together so that there was no longer room to receive them, not even near the door. And he preached the word to them. Then they came to him, bringing a paralytic who was carried by 4 men. When they could not come near him because of the crowd, they uncovered the roof where he was. So when they had broken through, they let down the bed on which the paralytic was lying. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven you." And some of the scribes were sitting there and reasoning in their hearts, "Why does this man speak blasphemies like this? Who can forgive sins but God alone?" But immediately when Jesus perceived in his spirit that they reasoned thus within themselves, he said to them, "Why do you reason about these things in your hearts? Which is easier to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven you,' or to say, 'Arise, take up your bed and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has power on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, arise, take up your bed and go to your house." Immediately he arose, took up the bed, and went out in the presence of them all, so that all were amazed and glorified God, saying, "We never saw anything like this." I want to focus in on these 4 men that were carrying their friend. They were on a mission. They had a love and a desire for their friend to be healed. They had heard about what Jesus had done. This is not Jesus' first time in Capernaum. He had healed many, cast out many demons. They were very much aware of who Jesus was and his power. They had put their faith in who Jesus was. Their obstacle was very simple. There was no way to get to Jesus through the normal means. The door was crowded on the outside and it was crowded on the inside. But these men refused to be stuck. Their love for their friend and their faith in what Jesus could do and what they believed he would do drove them to do what most men would never do, and that is to climb the roof of another person's home and to literally dismantle it so they can drop their friend in. And I'm telling you something. Jesus would not allow them to stay stuck. He ministered to the man on the mat, and he healed him, and he honored all of their faith. In fact, in verse 5 it says, when Jesus saw their faith, not the faith of just the man on the mat, but all of them, those 4 men and the mat, when God saw their faith, he spoke words of forgiveness and healing. And as fast as that man got up and started walking out that door, those other 4 men were off that roof and out there in the front, and there was a big party as they were hugging and loving on this friend of theirs. They refused to be stuck. Boy, I have witnessed that many times. I be honest with you, I can't think of a single example of where I've witnessed it here in the United States, but I have witnessed it in many other places around the world. You see, what do we do when we encounter obstacles? It really says more about us than we probably want God to know. I use the word us. What I do when I encounter obstacles in the course of doing what I know I'm called to do and following Jesus and walking worthy, what I do when I encounter obstacles in walking worthy says more about me than I probably want God to know. These men spoke volumes through their actions to the Lord. They were men that had a faith that drove them to go beyond what normal men would do. What about you? Love you, Steers Chapel.